And here I am this time, Hornet. So we're going to keep on going with our lesson on analyzing point of view from lesson 16 in the Ready Workbook, part 4. You just finished reading The Stingy Artist on page 164. So now we're going to start on page 165 and go over your 3 questions that deal with and how you're going to analyze the information that you've got. So the very first thing we want to make sure we do is all of that stuff we just did on the other page. Yeah, that doesn't stop. You still write analyzing point of view at the top of your page on this one. You still go over here and write your perspectives. Perspectives. That is first, second, and third person. You still need to make sure you know your purpose is as easy as pie. It is to persuade, inform, and to entertain. Now we're reading fiction, so our purpose is to entertain, and that our tone is positive, negative, or neutral, which is congruent to our mood. Mood, which remember, that's why we have moody teenagers. It's what you feel. So there's my weird looking smiley face, my frowny face, and then my meh face. So we got all our notes. I'm going to clear the screen so I can finish writing on it and go over some things. So hopefully you have all that written down. Just a reminder that we do it again on every page. So now we're going to look at our questions. We have our bolded words for our text features tell us to look at your marked up text, which that means you need to go back and look at page 164 where we've written all over it. So look at your marked up text. Then use the hints on this page to help you complete the graphic organizer, which is this thing right here. To complete the graphic organizer and answer the questions. So we have our first hint over here on the side. And it says, as you fill out the graphic organizer, think about how the author reveals the character's thoughts and feelings through the dialogue and narration. Now, this is just like we were doing with Harry Potter when we were looking at Harry or the characters in Harry Potter, their actions and their emotions and trying to come up with their point of view. Well, this time we're looking at the stingy artist to try to come up with their point of view and the evidence to prove their point of view. So in the chart, it's going to ask me for each character, and that's Gisen and Sakura. Sakura. We're going to identify 2 or more details from the text that support your analysis of each character's point of view. Well, the first thing you've got to do, guys, is come up with a point of view. So we've got Gisen's point of view. So his point of view, remember, he might be making a whole lot of money off of his portraits and his paintings, but it's because he's trying to help his village. So he does not feel it wrong to charge high prices when it goes to a good cause. So now I need some evidence to prove that. So when I go back and look at my text that I've drawn on, I need to find evidence that proves my point, what I think is my point of view. And what I found is that he keeps asking for more money. He doesn't stop. He asks her what she can pay. And that's what he pretty much takes from her. And then, though, because of that good cause part, he ends up using his money for a good cause, and that is to make sure that he's got grain and stuff like that for his village so they don't starve, because that's what famine means, going hungry. So then I've got Sakura, who's buying artwork, and she's got money. She's got enough money to burn. She even throws leftover food to the dogs. So, has her dogs their own party and food. So, I mean, it's a waste of money. So, but her point of view, though, even though I can look at it and say it's a waste of money, the character's point of view is that it's shameful to be so fixated on money. So, what can I go back to the text and find that says where she thinks that being so fixated on money like Ethan is bad? Well, we've got where she actually says he is shameful, and she sneers and scorns him. She tells him it's shameful to discuss money, and then while they're at dinner and he brings the painting, she and all of those other highfalutin people are giving him a hard time for charging so much money, but she pays it. So that is our evidence of point of view for our characters. So let me clear my again. Now, for number 2, we're going to look at our question yet again, and it says, which statement best describes Geeson's attitude toward money? And my hand over here says, which answer choice helps explain why he charges such high prices? Well, let's look at A. He thinks people should spend money any way they wish. Well, choice A is incorrect. Okay, Geeson's words and actions don't reveal his opinion about how others use their money. He's not saying how other people should use their money. Okay, no opinion he's given. So, what about B? That he believes art is more important than money. Well, not quite. Okay, choice B is incorrect because the text details do not support this answer. There's nothing in the text that goes back to that he thinks art is more important than money. He's an artist and that's his job, but he doesn't actually think that art is more important than money. That's not in the text. So, art C, Geeson thinks that money is more important than beauty. Well, so this one, it's more important than beauty. Well, I'm afraid that's also not good. And for some reason, my little box is in the wrong spot. We should be pointing right there at C. Geeson thinks so. Choice C is incorrect. There's no mention of how Geeson feels about beauty in the text whatsoever. That's not even the point of the story, since it's supposed to be dealing with money and people who waste money and people who are trying to use money for good things. So that leaves us with our answer choice as being D, no matter what. But let's look at why. Geeson feels money should be used to help others, not wasted. And that is very, very true. That is very, very true, because he's doing everything he can to make sure the people of his village get taken care of. And that's even by charging that woman who has no problem wasting money for the painting. So your answer is D. So the correct, he uses his money to help his poor villagers. Okay. Now, our last one. Writing question. Citing two. So citing means we got to put something in quotes, guys. Citing two specific details from the text and the chart above. So we got to use the thing, and we also can use our chart. We got 2 places to look. Contrast the points of view of Geeson and Sakura from the stingy artist. Now, over here, we've got a hint that says, as you write, think about how Sakura's ignorance, which means she doesn't understand, ignorance of Geeson's motives, colors her point of view, because she doesn't know why he's charging so much money. She just thinks he's being greedy. So let's look at keywords one more time, maybe. So we're citing 2 specific details. We're going to contrast, which means we're going to show how things are different, and we're contrasting their different points of view, and it is from Geeson and Sakura. Now, the thing about writing, guys, is that some of you are going to try to go straight to this and write your answer. Well, this is involved. It's a couple of step process. I want to make sure you get all the stuff you need. So we're going to do a little outline, okay, on the side, right there underneath your blue thing, right next to where you're going to do your writing, okay? So we're going to start your outline by what are your 2 points of view. You've got 2 people. You got to know their point of view. So we're going to write Geeson's POV, and then we're going to come to the middle, and we're going to write Sakura's POV, and at the very bottom, so that way we can try to figure out how one's motives lead to the other and what the author's intent is. We're going to add one last thing at the bottom, maybe. And it says, why does the author do this? Okay. So back when we look at our chart, what was Sakura's point of view? Well, it was that she feels it's shameful to be so fixated on money. And then, so that means I probably need to go find evidence from the text that put in quotes that actually shows she's fixated on money. Then, that it's also shameful to do that. Then I've also got Geeson, whose point of view is that he does not feel it's wrong to charge high prices when it goes to a good cause. Now, guys, if you go back and look at your chart on number 1, I pulled both of these straight from our chart. That's why we made the chart, so we know where we're trying to go. Now, why does the author do this? Well, the author does this to show how each character has a different perspective in order to help the reader understand why Geeson is charging so much money. So that's the whole reason that we have this contrast, is to see why it's so important that we understand why he's doing it. And also it's so important why she's wasting it and doesn't get it. So now, you have hopefully all written that. Remember, if I'm going faster than you can write, you can pause me and catch up. Now, our next thing, so pause me, write down your little notes on the side. If you need to get out a sheet of notebook paper and take down these notes and we'll staple it in, get out a sheet of notebook paper and we'll staple it into your workbook. So, next slide. This is my outline, okay? This is an outline of trying to use the racist strategy in order to help you write using what we just talked about with those points of view. Okay. So we've got, and you're going to write this. If it's in red, you are writing it, and you're writing it right there in the blanks. And now, if you notice, I've left stuff blank. That means it's your job to fill in that stuff. Okay. In Keisha Walker's retelling of The Stingy Artist, the author contrasts two characters' point of view. That's me using the R to restate my prompt. I got all my information from right here up here, all of it. So now I have in the text, because remember, my answer for this is going to be citing details to show their points of view and how they're different. So in the text, Geeson says, blank, you've got to give me something he says about his viewpoint on money and tell me what his viewpoint is. This is, and then our next sentence says, this is the opposite, which goes to that contrast up there. It goes to that contrasting part. Okay. This is the opposite. This is the opposite. Oh, then there we go. Ms. Murray's got an error. This is the opposite point of view of Sakura, who believes blank. So this is where you can tell me what she believes. Now, guys, we've got the stuff that we just wrote over here on the side about point of view. These blanks, those are good places to put that stuff in. Oh, let me go back. Nope. Okay, so this is a good place to put those notes in that we just took about each person's point of view, right? So then we've got the reader knows this because in the text, and there we go, Miss Murray's got more typos. The reader knows this because in the text, Sakura says, there we go. In close, and then you've got to put in what does she say? What does she do or say that makes you think a certain way? Okay. So in closing, the author contrasts the two different points of view to blank. Well, there's that last thing we were talking about. Why is the author even giving us the contrasting point of view for these two characters in this story? And that's how you can wrap it up. So at this point, you want to pause me and finish typing out your writing out your answers in your workbook. Now I'm going to want to see it. So you make sure once you've got it written and you've got these blanks filled in, you raise your hand so I can come around and sign, and Miss Brandy can come around and sign and stamp your workbook so we can look over at what you've got there. Okay. So pause me and get your stuff done. And then once you get it done, I will come push play and you can keep going. So pause. I'm assuming right now that I've just pushed play on your computer, unless you're a virtual student and you're playing it on your own and you're doing this online. So I'm going to show you 2 examples of students past. This is what they did. I just rewrote it on the screen. And so this is what their notes looked like. Okay. They've got Gleason's point of view that money should save people. Sakura's point of view was she thinks that Gleason's money, that he's greedy, and that why the author does this. It's going back to answering question number 2 that you have at the top of your thing. So they said in The Stingy Artist retold by Keisha Walker, the author contrasts the points of view of Greason and Sakura. The text says Greason had used every bit of his earnings to fill a warehouse with grain. This shows how Greason wasn't greedy or stingy. In contrast, Sakura says it is shameful to speak of money. She means he is being stingy by asking for more money when in fact she's being wasteful. That's one example from years past. And then another example says, in the text, The Stingy Artist, retold by Keisha Walker, Walker contrasts the points of view of Greason and Sakura. Greason says to Sakura, how much can you pay? He says this because he needs the money to help his village. However, Sakura thinks he is shameful because he talks high prices and she does not want to pay. Now, both of these left out that last sentence that I would have liked for them to have wrapped it up. So, to keep going with this, I have my example. I can't get rid of that. So that's going to just say so. And then we have my example that says, in The Stingy Artist, as retold by Keisha Walker, Greason and Sakura have very different points of view about the painting and the cost of it. Sakura believes it is shameful for Greason to bring up money, and she says that he is greedy. Greason does not feel shame in charging so much to rich people. Greason suffers through her scorn because he knows the money is being spent to improve the lives of the poor villagers. Therefore, Walker does this to show how each character has a different perspective in order to help the reader understand why Greason is charging so much money. Greason may seem greedy, but he is doing his best to help the poor people in his village. Now, with that, I'm going to also print this out and give you a copy to staple into your workbook so you have my version and your version, because I want you to have 2. You need to be able to start practicing with your writing more and your own writing and not just copying what Miss Davis and I are putting on the boards. So if you do have any questions, let me know and I would be more than happy to answer them. Otherwise, have a great day, Hornets. Thank you.